Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and having learned quite a few things from, through, and within human interactions, and having pursued and completed my master's in business administration and clinical psychology, I today wish to talk about fear, and more specifically about the existence of fear with regards to other people's opinions of us, its evolutionary and developmental importance to a certain degree, and beyond that degree, it can get debilitating and it can get crippling. Now, whether we like it or not, at least to some degree, we all are interested in knowing, in getting to understand what others think of us. What is their opinion about us? Is it in our favor or is it not in our favor? And if I can put it very mildly and yet very directly, do others think am I good or do others think am I bad? Do others think that I'm complacent or do others think I'm a nuisance? Do others think I'm likable or do others think I'm not likable or maybe even hateful? Do others think that I'm valuable enough or do others think I'm not at all valuable, that I don't matter? Do others think that I'm competent? Do others think that I'm confident? Do others think that I have some skill sets which adds value to me? Or do others think I'm incompetent, that I'm underconfident, and that I have no skill sets that I can bring to the table and thereby add value to myself and to the group, slash my tribes, slash my community, slash my social group? And almost all of us, right from our earliest years, right from the time we probably begin to sit, or even before that, almost all of us learn that there are certain social norms, that there are certain cultural norms, that there are certain family practices and norms that we need to abide by, that we need to adhere to, that we need to comply by, so that we are accepted and not rejected, so that we can fit in with the group and probably get a sense of belonging, a sense of acceptance and acceptability, even if it means rejecting our own selves, our own true self, authentic self. And if we look at the root word for authenticity, it comes from the root word authentis. At least that's my understanding of how the word is pronounced. It means being in charge of oneself, being the author of one's own self. It actually means being the author of your life, of your choices, of your decisions. It means being in authority of yourself. And that is why probably we also keep hearing a lot of people say, just be yourself, which invariably makes me wonder, which self are we talking about? The real authentic self? The whole complete self, with all of our beauty and all of our messiness, with all of our beauty and all of our ugliness. And when I'm using the word beauty and messiness and ugliness over here, I'm metaphorically talking about all of the good and all of the evil that resides within all of us. Or are we talking of the social image that we have constructed for ourselves in keeping with the expectations of the world around us, in keeping with the people around us, in keeping with the culture, with the community around us that surrounds us? Are we talking of that? Or are we really talking of the unedited, unfiltered versions of ourselves? The rawest, raw part of us? Or are we talking about the social image that we have constructed for ourselves, about ourselves, in keeping with what is most acceptable, in keeping with what seems to be most desirable, in keeping with what seems to be most compliable? Because in my understanding, if we were truly authentically ourselves, with the beauty and the ugliest ugly, with the loyal and with the most treacherous, with the smartest and the most dumbest, with the prettiest and the ugliest parts of us, we probably would not need to say, just be yourself. because that would come very naturally to us. Something like blinking our eyes. Nobody needs to tell us that we need to blink our eyes. We do it naturally. In exactly the same way, if we were truly ourselves, authentically ourselves, we wouldn't be needing to say, just be yourself. And maybe to some degree, that is where our confusion arises from. Because there's a version of us that we don't share with the rest of the world, that we hide even from ourselves because that's not so palatable. Because it may have a little bit of a devil and an evil inside of us. Because it may have a version of us that is not socially acceptable. And thereby, to a degree, we also have this self which is more polished, which is more refined, which is more diluted, which is a little more glossy in appeal, which is a little more desirable, which is a little more acceptable and not rejectable, that we project onto the world's expectation of us, that we project onto the family's expectation of us, that we project onto the social group's expectation of us, and which is where, to a large degree, we disconnect from our real authentic self, invariably creating a split, a fragmentation within all of us, wherein we need to reinforce the idea that just be yourself. Not only onto ourselves, but even onto others. So then the natural question is, or at least in my understanding, the natural question is, should we disregard the social image? Should we not at all care about it? Well, in my understanding, the idea is not to care about it, but the idea is to understand how much to care about it. Is it more important than our authentic self, than our authentic image, than our raw, unprocessed, unfiltered image? And if the social image is more important than the raw, authentic, unfiltered image, unfiltered versions of ourselves, the most authentic, the raw versions of ourselves, why is it more important? What is the cost price that we have paid and are willing to pay in order to maintain that social image at the cost of losing the authentic image or the authentic connections with ourselves? And not just ourselves, but even with others. And why is it important to question that at all? Well, in order to understand that, we need to look at our evolution and our development. The way we evolved in the wild, in the wilderness, whereas an individual, a single individual, we are most vulnerable, we are most threatened. The natural course of evolution for our survival was to function through a group, was to function within a group, was to stay within a group, so that we don't get killed and eaten up by anything that ran faster than us, by anything that was more powerful than us, physically more powerful than us, by anything that flew higher than us, by anything that was more poisonous than us. And if we did not stick with that tribe or the group or the community, the human species would probably not have seen the light of the day after a few hundred or 1,000 years. So sticking to the group, sticking by the group, sticking within the group helped us survive, helped us come out of the wilderness. And of course, also at times, the community, the group, the tribe has also proven to be our biggest support system. So of course the social setup has its place. It has its evolutionary importance. And in terms in keeping with our development, since we also are the primates, the social primates, who biologically are prematurely born, we truly take time to grow up. We truly take time, quite literally, to even stand on our 2 feet. While as most other mammals and animals are quite capable of doing that within the first few hours of their taking birth. So, quite naturally, if we are that prematurely born, we need others to help us survive. We need others to take care of us. We need others to be attuned to us. For a human infant, leave alone standing up and sitting down, cannot even burp by itself for the first few months of its life. Even for burping, it needs the help of some other people. So, quite literally, our survival is dependent on other people's attunement towards us, on other people's presence in our life. Not just physical presence, but even emotional and mental presence. And so, in keeping with that, both with regards to our evolution and our development, our natural biology is wired to find acceptance, to find belonging, to find safety within the tribe. And unfortunately, many a times while we are growing up, while we are developing, many a times if our authentic self is not accepted as it is, we adapt a little too much. We comply a little too much. We reject ourselves a little too much so that others don't reject us. We disconnect from our gut instincts, from our intuition, so that others don't abandon us, or at least threaten to abandon us. And when we start doing that a little too much, a little too in excess, for most days of our life, quite naturally, we've got to reinforce, we've got to remind ourselves to just be ourselves. Because being ourselves after a point in time, when we have curated and cultivated that social image, which is desirable and acceptable and palatable and compliable, feels like developing the trust that we had lost in ourselves. Feels like learning a foreign language which we are not accustomed to, which we do not even acknowledge, which we do not understand, which feels new and foreign. Because being ourselves would go against the grain of compliance. So even after having recently lost my father, at the demise of my father, when certain ceremonies were being held, I noticed a lot of people who kept thinking, if I do this, if I wear this, if I say this, what will somebody else think of me? Will they talk badly or negatively about me? Will they have opinions about me that may seem out of the box? Will they think that I'm not a good person? And almost all of us, on some level or the other, are constantly doing that because of our innate need to belong. Where unfortunately we have gotten mixed up, we have gotten confused with regards to fitting in and with regards to belonging. And we keep doing that, we keep assessing whether we'll be acceptable or not acceptable. How will others see us? How will others perceive us? Will they judge us negatively? Will they not think highly of us? Are all the things we are constantly assessing with regards to somebody's words, with regards to somebody's body language, with regards to somebody's tonality in their voices, with regards to their facial expressions, with regards to how long and on what level do they interact with us, with regards to their engagement with us, with regards to do they notice us or do they not notice us, in what way do they notice us. We are constantly trying to assess what others think of us. And in the same way, we are also trying to assess somebody else almost all the time. So should we then throw out the concept of the social image completely out of the window? Well, in my understanding, the answer is in the middle ground. The answer is naturally not completely no, because our reality is that we are a social creature. And denying our reality causes us more pain than anything else, causes more suffering than anything else. But rather create a fine balance between being authentic, being ourselves, and yet having some relevant, meaningful social connections in our lives. The idea is not to throw away our social image, but the idea is to be authentically socially ourselves. And for that, we may need to reflect and ponder on a few questions. What does my social image provide me that my authentic self will not provide me? What is the cost price that I'll be paying or I'm willing to pay in order to retain my social image at the cost of abandoning my authentic self? What is the cost price that I'll be willing to pay to be more authentically me? What are the few things that I will get in life if I'm more authentically myself, and the cost price of which may be letting go of a few other things that my being authentic will require, will demand? And if my being authentic burns down a few bridges with regards to our social image, with regards to the social structure, how much can I trust myself when I'm abandoning my authentic self? When I'm not trusting it to be more empowered than my social image that I have curated and cultivated? And in what places do I feel more free? Do I feel more aligned with myself? Do I feel more peaceful with my own existence? Is it when I'm living up to that social image? Or is it when I'm authentically myself? Let's try and reflect on those questions to be able to see, to be able to reflect how many times and how much do we abandon our true selves, our authentic selves, so that we are not abandoned and rejected by others. Do we live our lives worrying what other people think about us, what they may think about us? Do we make most of our life choices, or do we know when to set the limits and where to draw the lines? Because if we are doing that, we are barely living our lives true to our own true self, but we are living everybody's else's opinions and expectations of us, and thereby their unfulfilled lives through us. Let's try and reflect on that, and I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contextual content of these videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.